Well, hello and welcome to our retro movie review for Quentin Tarantino's much maligned 2008 Death Proof. Stephen, of course, we both love this movie. I think it was actually yourself that gave me a copy of this movie originally. You had the Grindhouse double set. I think it was Planet Terror and Death Proof. Absolutely loved the two movies. I loved the wackiness of Planet Terror, and just, as you know, big fan of Kurt Russell, even though he is a right cunt in this movie. So that was enough for me. I was in there, and I've seen this movie maybe half a dozen times in the intervening years that have passed. But it is much maligned. We have to get into that before we actually talk about this movie. For some reason, there seems to be a sizable proportion of people out there who don't seem to like this movie, don't give it the deserved credit that it perhaps deserves, without really digging myself a hole even further there. I think it's because of the actual concept. There's females and they're getting beat up by a white male, even back then that was frowned upon.
Well, it got off in the back foot, John, right away, because I do remember all the press at the time when this film was released, that just the subject matter it didn't really jive with a lot of people. But
the violence against women.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's a mixture of that. Possibly now people are looking at it as one of a certain person's production company as well.
Yeah,
Don't know.
Exactly.
I'm not going to dance around that. I like the film. I love the film.
Yeah,
I don't care. I like this concept that Tarantino came up with. And there's something about this character, and you're right, John, what you said, how you described him, because he certainly is one, a right one at that, and it's more of the feel of the film that I love more than anything. The actual story, the plot to this is a very simple story. There's nothing complex about it. It doesn't really do the Pulp Fiction flitting back and forth, and then everything comes together at the end. It's a film straight down the line, easy enough plot to follow, and it's a film split in two. That's basically it.
And it's linear.
Yeah, and what I liked about it, John, as well, was the original concept of this whole experience, which Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez was going for at the time. Now, I might be wrong. It has been 13 years since the film's release. Before it was released over here in the UK, there was word going about that audiences in the US weren't really liking the whole 3-hour sit-down thing. You think about that nowadays, it's a bit of a joke, isn't it?
Yeah, we spoke about that, yeah.
You look at the likes of the Marvel stuff and all that, it's over 3 hours long. But the idea was, I don't know what order it was, and I can't remember. Planet Terror, some fake adverts, commercials, some fake trailers. We got, obviously, your man Danny Trejo doing his Machete, which was just a piss take. They actually made the film. I think they actually made a sequel as well. It was that successful.
Stephen, he's doing that with Once Upon a Time. Yeah. With obviously the Western Bounty Law.
Yeah.
He's going to make a TV show.
This is one of the things this guy can do. He can create worlds, and he can create commercials and stuff like that. Doesn't it's all in his world. But whether it be Big Kahuna or whatever, the cigarettes as well. Apple, I think it is. I can't remember.
Yeah,
but and then after these adverts and obviously the fake trailers and stuff like that, then you get the second film, being Death Proof. It just sounded great to me. Here in the UK, we never got to experience drive-ins and stuff like that. We don't have the climate for it for a start. You can imagine sitting in the pouring rain in a convertible in the UK. But an absolute joke.
The wind in the west of Scotland.
Yeah, so
windiest country in the world.
The concept of this was very appealing, for people that haven't experienced that kind of, that sort of format. So, I was looking forward to seeing both films anyway. I got to see one of them in the cinema. I think actually Kevin, fellow movie burner, went to the Glasgow Film Theatre and actually got to ask Quentin Tarantino a question in regards to who his favourite female character was he created. It happened to be the bride, by the way, from Kill Bill. But
surprise.
Obviously, it was a big thing. There's a big fury as well in regards to the subject matter, John. But I'm sure we'll get into this as the review rolls on. But I was looking forward to this. I always remember looking forward to this, and the minute it came out, obviously in DVD, I couldn't wait to get my hands on it.
Absolutely, Stephen. Look, there's not many Quentin Tarantino movies I haven't seen. Shamefully, I've not seen The Hateful Eight in its entirety yet. I've seen the first hour, a little chunk of the last portion of that movie with Tatum getting killed and whatnot. He deserved it. And then also Jackie Brown. But this one, thanks to you, as I did say, I didn't get the opportunity to see this in the theatre myself, but look, it was fantastic. First time I watched it. And it's not really aged badly either. There's something about Tarantino, because his movies do have that sort of distinctive 70s vibe. A lot of the times they've got an aged visual aesthetic, whatever you want to call it.
John, this could have easily been set in the 70s if it wasn't for that mobile phone.
Yes, exactly. That really spoiled it. It could have been set. It's timeless. His movies are timeless in a sense. But look, Stephen, the introduction, I've said quite simply, amazing music and women's feet. Definitely a Tarantino film. It's what is the name of that opening song they used? The Last Race.
The Big Jack Fortune, I think.
Oh, is it
the Big Jack Fortune, The Last Race, it's called,
yes,
John.
The Last Race. It's just amazing music to start this movie off. We've obviously got Feet in the Window. We're introducing the female group who are at the beginning, the first hour of this movie, I want to say.
Yeah.
And it's just done so well. There's just something about it. As I did say, the vintage colour palette, I've said, the aesthetic to the film. It's got grain on it and whatnot. It just looks amazing.
Yeah.
That's just Tarantino all over. The man loves to shoot in 30mm film and whatnot. He's a real junkie for the old style of doing things. He likes film. He doesn't like to do digital. He doesn't have any streaming or nothing. It's all analogue stuff he has in his possession. What did you make about that intro? What did you make about the actual visuals? I know we briefly touched upon that there, but there's so much going on in this movie, like black and white shots and whatnot, and it's quite impressive.
Yeah, John, it's, and those little scratches of dust and stuff like that on the film. It's done in a way it's not tacky, and it's not a sort of gimmick thing either. He's tried to be as traditional as he can, with adding, obviously, I think those little sort of grainy bits in the film were obviously digitally. I don't know.
They may have been, yeah.
I'm not sure. But he tries to stay true to the films he grew up with. Every time he promotes a film, that's what he always says. He wants to try and recreate the films that he loved as a kid. Not so much this would have been a horror. I don't think he would have seen this kind of film as a kid.
It does have strange western vibes to it as well, though.
Yeah,
There's something about it.
I think it's because it's set in Texas, isn't it? Or roundabouts there, But I think it does have that element, and it does have a creepy vibe to it as well, which is, I think it's very unusual. I can't remember Tarantino doing a film like that up to this point.
No.
That has that kind of horror element. But I love the introduction, John. That music just set the tone right away. And he always picks good tunes anyway, and he always introduces you to music you've never heard. Yeah. I'll be honest, John, I'd never heard of most of the songs that were in this soundtrack, apart from the Dave D, Dozy Beaky McIntitch, Hold Tight. She actually says it wrong in the film. We'll get to that though. And it was deliberate, apparently. Tarantino says it was deliberate. I doubt it very much. But yeah, I just loved it, John. I just loved that introduction. The introduction of the women as well.
Yeah.
Which... first time seeing it, shocked what happens to them.
Yeah.
Because I thought this was going to be the band, the group of characters that were going to take us from the start of the film right through to the very end. It wasn't the case.
Yeah, Stephen, it's a strange concept. I says that in my notes. I don't know of any other movie which kills off the primary protagonists that have been set up in the first half of the movie pretty much entirely.
Yeah.
And I mean, we have got little cameos in there as well from the likes of Eli Roth and whatnot, but in the main it's these female characters.
Yeah.
And they're not killed off. Well, they are killed off. I think they are all killed off.
Yeah, they're all wasted,
every single one of them are killed off. I mean, there's legs getting flung out, but we'll get to that shortly. Obviously it's Jungle Julia and I want to say Pam, Rose McGowan.
Yeah.
She's the sort of blonde bimbo that's chatting up stuntman Mike at the bar. And it makes not a damn bit of difference. You think he's got a slight relationship brewing there, but he just carelessly deals with her later on in the movie. But Stephen, there's something about Tarantino movies. The dialogue immediately pops. These ladies are all chatting with each other. There's a restaurant sequence. I think they're in a car, obviously.
Yeah.
Then they go back to this bar, and just the conversation, it just feels so natural, organic. It's popping off the screen. I've said in my notes, it's almost like you're interloping in on real people's lives. You're jumping in like a fly on the wall when you're listening. They feel like real living people. It doesn't feel like it's been read off a script.
Yeah, it's like real conversations, John, but interesting ones,
Yeah.
And sometimes you get that in life. You pick up on a conversation and go, oh, what's this they're talking about? And in this case, it's every conversation in this film. But that's just his knack. That's his talent. Quentin Tarantino's quite a people watcher. And he listens to people as well, and what they say and how they say things and stuff like that. And the most, I suppose, what some people might find mundane can be very interesting to other people.
No, I find it hugely interesting.
You know, there's obviously the rain as well. You can't forget the rain in this this bar sort of scenario.
It's
you know,
Texas. Does it rain in Texas?
I think it's when she goes out for a cigarette, isn't it? The main sort of lead female character. I can't remember her name. The one that does the dance, John.
Man.
But she goes out. I think she's going out for a cigarette, and the texting as well. There's a strange kind of bit of music going on in the texting, isn't it? A little romantic thing going on.
Yeah, it's like a little piano piece, and the quick shots and cuts to the mobile.
It's bizarre.
It feels totally out of place.
Is this the point? Obviously, I've not seen this film. I've not seen this film probably about a decade, John. So,
Arlene was that character's name, incidentally. Vanessa Ferlito.
Yeah. So you're going to have to keep me right here. Is this the same scene? Tarantino, stuntman Mike is driving by very slowly.
Yeah.
As he catches the car. They do see that car, or do they? I'm not sure.
Yeah. Arlene sees it out in the street, and he obviously stops, and she looks, and then he revs it up and drives off.
Yeah. It's
and
very
then she
odd,
sees it parked out in the car park, or the parking lot later on at the bar. And again, there's ominous zooms to this car sitting in the darkness. He's just building the tension beautifully. He's letting us know this car is wrong. The guy that drives it is wrong. It's almost like Jeepers Creepers level of ominousness. Ominous levels coming off of this car. It's wrong, and that's just again intelligent, because we know that this guy comes into the bar. He's getting tore into tackles. Again, beautiful aesthetics. It's been shot from the side, from one guy's in the foreground. Stuntman Mike's off to the background. He's out of focus. And then you get to see his, I think it's Nacho Grande tackles.
Always pushing the mid for them.
Yeah, the cheese dripping off. He's slabbering, but look, man, it's Kurt Russell. It's tackles. I love my tackles, and I love my Kurt Russell. So it's match made in heaven. Look, Stephen, I've got into tackles ever since that scene. You obviously, as I keep saying, gave me the movie.
Yeah.
And it's just introduced me to the world of tackles and burritos and Mexican food and whatnot. So again, thank you, Tarantino. You introduced a lot to my life, but tacos is probably the best thing you introduced.
Still try the big kahuna. We'll find that somewhere, John.
Yeah.
I think it's actually just a beef burger with a pineapple in it.
Yeah, and listen, I love my pineapple pizzas. I'm one of those weirdos. I put thousands and ones, I think you call them, on it. So I'm a strange fellow. But Stephen, what did you make about this bar sequence? I don't think there's another director in the history of film who could set nearly an entire hour of a movie in one location, in a bar.
Yeah.
With maybe a dozen or so characters and make it interesting. Yeah, as you did say, you didn't say, he pops up in this sequence. I think it's Warren, you says his name is.
Yeah, Warren, that's Tarantino.
Tarantino comes in, and you says it's his own jukebox. It's actually in the bar, and again, music. You've got Jeepster, I want to say, by T-Rex coming on and whatnot. Just the way it's phoned, the music, the visuals, the characters, the dialogue. It's just transfixes you from start to finish.
What we don't know though, John, at this point is that stunt driver Mike, or stuntman Mike, I can't remember what it's called, actually he's been very clever. You know, he's obviously, this is a setup from him. You know, this is his alibi. He's setting up,
dog.
You know, for later on, you know, when he's questioned for his actions later on. You know, he's keeping himself to himself, but in a way he's making himself noticeable. That jacket he's got as well. You know, I think that's how they clock him, you know, at the bar, and they're kind of slagging him, you know, for his look.
It's like Ryan Gosling's jacket and driver.
Yeah.
Drive.
You know, and although he is keeping himself to himself, he is trying to be noticed very, you know, subtly.
Yeah.
I think he's on I don't know what you call those drinks in America. It's like soda. I can't remember what they're called, John. Club soda, is it?
Club soda.
I think that's what he's drinking. Again, it's another thing you don't really pick up on at the time, but there's a reason for him highlighting this to everyone, that he's not drinking. You know, obviously he's got his car outside, so he shouldn't be drinking anyway. I don't know what the rules are in the US. Certainly,
well,
here,
Stephen,
not like that.
Based on Californication back in the day, when you had David Duchovny's character taking drugs and whatnot and drinking and driving about all over the place.
Yeah.
Never seemed to lose his licence. It must be very lax over in the US, that's what I'm saying.
I forgot about that, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they just buy guns out of shops with a pint of milk, so they're strange folks over there.
Yeah,
so probably lax.
Yeah, so, I mean, his introduction was very underplayed, I felt, but there was obviously a reason for that, you know, and later on we find out the reason for that as well. You know, he doesn't approach anyone, he's letting people approach him. He's always going to be the innocent party, and you know, anything that happens after this, because they're going to see this guy was just minding his own business. You know, this person comes up and asks for a lift. he's not drink driving, you know, he's minding his own business, so we don't see anything wrong in what he's doing.
No.
From their point of view, that is.
Yeah, he's a sly dog, he's conniving, he's a puppet master, he's operating in the shadows. We see that later on when he disposes of Pam. He has photographs, he's been tailing these people for a while, taking photographs from a distance. Something we see again later on in the movie with the second group of women. He's a sly dog, as I did say. But Stephen, also you'd mentioned the rain sequence outside, she's having a cigarette and whatnot. He comes out, Stuntman Mike, and there's a strange sequence which, I mean, in any other movie you'd think, why is that in there? He's trying to sneeze, and he just can't seem to sneeze. Now, we've all been there, but why would you highlight that in a movie? I'm still a bit perplexed by it, but look, it just shows you the oddity of this guy. And I suppose it's just him, as you did say, making himself big and noticeable, and that he is here, and maybe just try to get conversation, probably interloping, to try and get a lap dance later on. And then also the lap dance sequence, incidentally, goes on for about 5-6 minutes. We have says that's probably highlighting Tarantino. He's a bit of a how shall I put this politely, he's a well, I don't want to say a slimeball because that's harsh, but he's got that way, he loves feet and whatnot, and he loves like this sort of shenanigans. But it's a very well shot sequence, I have to say. Although some of the shots, close-ups of certain parts of the body and whatnot, it was like, come on, what are you doing, Tarantino, mate? What are you doing? But look, what did you make about the sneeze sequence? What did you make about the lap dance sequence? And then just the build up to Pam obviously going in that car with Stuntman Mike, and we get to see this venomous, vicious side of good old Mike. The
failed sneeze, John. This was roughly around about the part where he says about in my book, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know,
I have a book.
Yeah, this is all to do with the dance. You know, he's the one that she should be doing it with, but she backs out of it, and basically, you know, he makes a bit of a mockery of her, and calls her bluff on it. But you know, yeah, you're right. It goes on for about 5 minutes or whatever it is. You know, one of the things I love about this scene is the music. You know, the coasters down in Mexico. It's a fantastic track. Again, Tarantino just knows how to pick the right track at the right time, and he has this in all his films, that, you know, memorable moments, and normally they are related with either dancing and singing or either or. Same in Pulp Fiction, if you never can tell, Chuck Berry. And I think that's what he's tried to do. He's tried to recreate that in a different sort of format, with obviously a lap dance rather than having John Travolta and Uma Thurman up on the stage, you know, dancing. But again, you know, I think that's what he's been trying to do here. I think he's tried to. It isn't as memorable, unfortunately. You know, it's one of those sequences that was just lightning in a bottle. It didn't quite work this time. I didn't mind it at all. No. I just felt it went on a little bit long, and it kind of highlighted the fact Tarantino he likes women.
Yeah,
you know, he likes feet. You know,
nothing wrong with that at all.
It's not a crime.
Unless you're a Gillette fan or whatnot, and you're not allowed
you know,
to
so
like women.
Yeah, it was great, John. You know, and obviously it sets up this sort of you know, friction between Arlene and Mike as well. You know, there's a bit of kidology and flirting going on, but there's obviously boundaries as well. You know, he's an older guy, you know, and she's just playing with him. You know, she realises he's an older guy. She's not interested, but she's going to do this because she probably wouldn't hear the end of it off her friends if she didn't do it. Cause,
they set it up for a good 10 minutes prior at the beginning of the movie. If these words are uttered and something happens, then you have to do a lap dance. So she had to do it, and that's fair enough. Stephen, you mentioned the book. I'll get on to the actual drive sequence very, very soon, but I mean, that was a great quote, wasn't it? You mentioned, I think he's putting on a John Wayne accent. He's going full. I mean, I touched upon it. It kind of feels like a western, this movie, in many ways. You've got him coming in. He's a sort of outlaw, coming in with his car instead of his stallion, and he's walking into the saloon and creating havoc and whatnot. Then he goes and kills people. And it's sort of, even the music at one point is kind of western-ish. Yeah, he makes that quote about the book. There's also something with an umbrella getting whipped out as well. You won't get wet. He whips out a red umbrella, and it's like, what is that about again?
I can't
Surrealism with Tarantino. But yeah, I mean, there's few things as fetching as a bruised eagle and a beautiful angel, he says, Stuntman Mike. You're okay in my book, and in my book it's okay, except in my case, I actually have a book, and you're going in my book. Just amazing dialogue, man. And this guy has a mastery with words that is unparalleled with most directors out there. But obviously, Stephen, I've got that out of the way, I've got that out of my system. I had to speak about that quote, the incredible car scene with Pam. Again, you speak about dialogue, he's mentioning it's death proof, but you have to be in my seat, honey, or something like that, for it to work
How
essentially.
many chances does he give her to not go in the car as well? Are you sure? You know, that kind of thing. You know, he's saying it in front of everyone as well. You know, but you know, she didn't know what was going to happen.
She was determined. Yeah. Stephen, it was absolutely brutal. Brutal.
Yeah.
I think he asked her, "You going left or right?" She says right, and then they are going left, and he says, "Oh, that's a shame. We had a 50-50 chance of you selecting the way I'm going. Now you've said left or right, whatever it was. You're going to be terrified immediately." And then he puts the foot down. It's absolutely barbaric the way he just wrecks her face. I mean, I think there's a lasting shot of her face, and it's just in tatters.
Yeah.
Really brutal, but it's deliberate. It shows you this guy is a sociopathic manipulator.
Yeah.
He's not to be quarrelled with. He's not some lovable weirdo that's taking snaps of women and then getting lap dances. He is a vicious, venomous shit of a man. He's going to
evil,
get his comeuppance later on in the movie. What did you make about that scene? Because it is one of the standout scenes in the movie, despite being brutal. Tarantino's always had a reputation of violence against women in these movies. A lot of the butthurt snowflakes like to go after him, and he just doesn't have it at all. No. Because he's right, because in this movie, women ultimately prevail and give him an absolute holic and beat the shit out of him.
It's a satisfying conclusion to the film, John.
He's all about equal rights, Tarantino. The women beat the shit out of the men, and the men equally beat the shit out of the women.
Oh, you can't have that, John. That's not allowed, you know. It should be the men copping it all, you know. But you're right. I mean, that's obviously later on in the film, John. But the actual crash sequence was very, very graphic, actually. You know, the scalping. I think it was a tyre.
I didn't get onto that. Yeah, that's just
obviously
amazing. That scene.
You know, it's just you know, the leg out the window. I think that was just what she did, wasn't it? She did it earlier in the film as well. Not be doing it again. Not be doing much again, but Hold Tight, Dave D. Dozy Beaky McIntitch is playing at the same time. What a track, you know, and it's got a build up to it as well. You know, he's picked the right track here because it's got that slow build up, you know, the drums beating and the guitar, you know, and you know, and it just all blends in. And you talked about this before we came on, John. You like a good car movie. This is certainly one that's got a few good cars in it as well, isn't it? But
Steve, I still don't know the cars, I've got to be honest with you, my eternal shame, but I love Bullet. That's one of my all-time favourites. Steve McQueen, big fan of him. That guy was synonymous with cars and motorbikes, so I've grown up loving those type of movies. You mix that with Tarantino and it's just a match made in heaven, really. Yeah, I mean, that scene was incredible. That whole takeout scene, you've got 3, 4, 5 different shots from different angles, slow motion. There's tyres going over her head and scalping her. There's, as you did say, the legs going out. One of them gets flung out the car and goes right up in the air. Yeah. It's just beautifully shot. It's magnificent. Yeah. I love Go. I love it.
See, the thing is, it could have been a crowd of guys in the car and the same thing happened to them. It would still been a great shot.
Yeah, it would have. Steve, it's nothing to do with that. It's not misogyny or just violence against women. It's just a great shot. And he is a shit, as I've said, and he gets his comeuppance later on in the movie, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. But Stephen, also that takes us on to a really strange sequence. I actually forgot about this from the first time I watched it. The hospital scene. Yeah. You touched upon the Doctor. I think he appears in numerous Tarantino movies.
Well, it's I don't know if
not
it's
the actual Doctor, but the actual actor.
Well, Josh Brolin is the Doctor in Planet Terror, but I don't know. I'd have to go back, John. You'd have to correct me if I'm wrong here. If you didn't notice him, it wasn't him.
Yeah.
Definitely the Sheriff McGraw, whatever he's called. He appears in quite a few.
The Sheriff.
He appears in a few Tarantino films anyway, because it's all that sort of, you know, universe of his. You know, he does turn up. I can't remember.
Parks.
Yeah, I can't remember what other ones he's in. I don't know if it's not Pulp Fiction.
Well, he's in Planet Terror for sure.
Yeah. You know, and it's the same hospital as obviously it's in Planet Terror.
Yeah. Django Unchained.
I think the lady doctor with the blonde hair, she's in Planet Terror as well. But yeah, it's one of these scenes. You know, we're at the midway point in the film. It's time to just calm down here, collect our thoughts. You know, everyone's dead or injured here. So that was the thing about the film. You know, I think, what's that, 45 minutes into the film?
Yeah, but
and I'm like,
50
what
minutes.
are they going to do with the rest of this film? I always remember thinking that, you know, the whole cast is dead.
Bad guys won.
And I did assume he was a goner as well. Obviously the doctors and the sheriff or whatever, that bit of dialogue telling that he's on the road to recovery or whatever.
It's fascinating as well though, Stephen, because it actually reveals that he has been up to no good in the past. They've been tracking him, but he's such a slippery customer that they can't actually get something to stick on him. So I think he makes a remark about, I can either spend the rest of my career tracking this guy all over the country, or I can spend it watching NASCAR. And I think that's a double slap down, because NASCAR's viewed over in the States as a traditional hillbilly redneck sport. It's just showing that these guys are just no better than Stuntman Mike. They're not even interested in doing their job at all. Yeah, I mean, just amazing sequence, really. And you're right, I've touched upon it earlier on. Half the cast dead in the first half of the movie. It's bizarre. I don't think any other director could do it and make it work.
No.
But again, it plays into it. He was speaking about this movie. You mentioned it with the Grindhouse thing, double matinee. He had visions of having this movie split in two as a sort of intermission. He's something he does time and again. He also took The Hateful Eight on a road tour. It was 30mm film that was being viewed in old theatres and whatnot, with an intermission in the middle. Something the guy likes to do. I don't think he ever had it done with this movie though, sadly. Also, the studio was pushed back, or Weinstein, the grovelling fat shit that he is, had pushed back. You know, you can't have that, but you can do what you want in every other walk of life. Yeah, shit. Hopefully he's actually got coronavirus. I heard that incidentally. I'm trying to cover up for the talk about beating against women and whatnot. You know, I'm not a misogynist.
No.
But Stephen, what did you make about the 14-month jump? And then the introduction to the new group of more streetwise lady figures. Obviously, we have more memorable names as well. Probably Rose McGowan aside.
Yeah, I mean, well, Rose McGowan was part of the first group, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was part of the first group.
Rosario Dawson in there.
Yeah, Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
Yeah, very young in this film.
Yes.
Almost unrecognisable, but yeah, I mean, the second part of this film, the 14-month jump, makes sense. Road to recovery and all that after a horrific car accident. You know, and he's on the mend. You know, it's not put him off doing it again, as we can obviously find out in the second half of this film. But the introduction to the new group of ladies in this film. The first time I thought, I got to start investing in characters again here. You know, it was like that the first time round. Obviously, when you've seen the film and then you see it a couple of times more, it doesn't really. It's not as jarring. But that first time, I remember going, I've just got used to those ones, you know, and now I'm going to have to get used to these ones. You know, what's going to happen to them? One of the things I didn't notice about this group were they were more grounded, more streetwise. I felt the first group of girls. They had a bit of arrogance about them, you know, and they lived in their own little world, you know. Obviously, you know, their most successful successful friend was the DJ, the talk show host in the morning kind of thing, you know, and they just lived in their own sort of little bubble, you know. These group of ladies, Zoe Bell's in there as well. She's obviously Uma Thurman's stunt double in Kill Bill. What a fighter she is. What a stunt woman she is as well, stunt person.
She's on the bonnet later on.
It's fantastic, yeah. So there's something about this group I liked a lot better. There was a scene where they were round a table, John, and it goes on for, I don't know, 7-8 minutes or something. It could be longer than that. It's all done in one shot. There's not one cut.
Fantastic.
You know, and it's not even like they did in 1917 where it appears to be that way. This was actually done that way, and that's a credit to those actors. You know, and obviously the cinematographer as well.
Yeah, I need to find out who he is.
I don't know who it is, John, but it was just a great scene, and it's just, as you said earlier, you know, it's just dialogue. You know, it's real life dialogue.
Tarantino was a cinematographer. He did the director of photography himself.
Yeah.
So he's obviously hands on. It's probably a very low budget movie even for Tarantino.
Yeah.
But Stephen, that was an incredible scene. Again, that just shows you how much the actors invest in this man's work. You hear it time and again. You've seen the likes of Brad Pitt waxing lyrically about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. The amount of hands that were on the script, it was coffee stained and whatnot by the time he got it back. They just love being in this guy's films, being invested. He's got such a vivid imagination, just amazing attention to detail, right down to the little cigarettes and all that. And the dialogue just pops. So you can just imagine them all sitting around, Stephen, and getting right immersed into this, probably preparing and rehearsals and whatnot, and then it makes it that sort of fruitful one-shot take. Again, amazing dialogue, as I did say. They're all you're fleshing these characters out, essentially. You have to do it in the first 10 or so minutes, and then it's thrust right into action, because it's not the sort of long 35-40 minute development. In this, it's quite short. You introduce to the characters. They're talking about hypothetical situations, guns and whatnot, what they want to do in the future.
Yeah.
I don't think they're all close friends, because I think, well, perhaps most of them are, but I think the Zoe Bell character is from Auckland.
Yeah.
I get the sense that the Mary Elizabeth Winstead character is perhaps not as close as the other three, because she makes a remark about where is home? Australia, and they're like, oh, you can't call her Australian, she'll kick your ass. She's at New Zealand. What would you call them? New Zealander, I'm just going
Kiwi,
to
I
a
can't
Kiwi,
remember,
yeah,
yeah.
a Kiwi. And we also Scots understand that completely, because when we get called English, not that we ever do, we get called Norwegian and Danish and whatnot on
German,
YouTube.
yeah.
But when we get called English, we take real offence to that, because we are not English. That's a dirty word. Joking. But obviously, Stephen, it sets the tone beautifully, and then they go to try and get this car on a ride. It's her dream to drive.
Yellow and black car, yeah.
Yeah, yellow and black car.
Yeah. I think the colours of that was to pay homage to Kill Bill as well, and obviously which pays homage to Bruce Lee's jumpsuit in Game of Death.
Absolutely. And then obviously, Stephen, that takes us on. I mean, I'm probably jumping right through here.
No,
but there's
okay.
a lot of cool shots. There's a shot in a gas station and whatnot, I want to say. And again, it's just amazingly shot. The attention to detail. This guy, he gets so much shit. He gets shit for the long sequences, the driving sequences, and Once Upon a Time.
Yeah.
But I love it. I love being immersed in this guy's world. And as I did say, his attention to detail, just panning to little things, and I just love it. It immerses you. It makes you feel like you're a fly on the wall, and you're just completely transfixed because of that. There's something about that in the dialogue. It just makes me a huge fan of it.
Yeah, and the second half of this film, John, is there's more action in it as well.
Yeah,
you know, and
it's
set up very well. You know, obviously, Zoe Bell, this part was written for her. You know, to perform some stunt stuff. You know, and get credit for it. You know, not Uma Thurman. So you know that set up as well, and you're thinking, oh, this is going to end tragically. You know, those 4 girls in that first car, you know, were all safe in the car, apart from one leg sticking out. She's on the bonnet, tied to it. You know, this is going to be carnage. You know, she's going to be like, you know, hung, drawn, and quartered. You know, just with one crash. And yeah, I mean, it's just this build up. You know, and he's prowling as well. There's a bit where he touches one of their feet as well.
Yeah, we didn't touch
on
that,
outside one of the, I think it's like a grocer's or something, I can't remember.
It's Tarantino again, living vicariously through Stuntman Mike. Licking Rosario Dawson or whatever.
It's weird.
Strange guy. Yeah, some people, horses for courses and all that jazz, whatever floats your boat. But yeah, he's a strange oddity of a man, as Mike, but there's something likeable about him as well. I don't know what it is, because he's a bit of a shithead, but maybe it's just because it's Kurt Russell.
I think it is.
And we've been on that journey with this guy for so long. But yeah, I mean, that amazing finale, really. That again, I want to say it's a finale. There's no fake.
Yeah, John, see, this is one of the things about the second group of women. You know, it's set up in a way where you don't spend a lot of time with them the way you did with the first 4. 4, wasn't it? 4 or 5?
Yeah,
can't remember.
4, yeah.
You know, there is more action sequences in this one, more chase scenes. The dialogue, as I said, was that bit round the table. I think that's as much as you got. Obviously, borrowing that car off the guy, but one of them had to stay back.
Yeah.
Was as much as you got in
it's
dialogue.
Enough.
Yeah, it's enough, because at this point, it's we're now into the sort of revenge part of the film. You know, we don't really have to care for these characters. I did, because I liked them. You know, I liked her chat. You know, I thought they were very funny. Zoe Bell was very funny indeed. You know, I wouldn't like to mess with her in real life. You know, I think she'd knock me out. I don't think that. I know she would. You know, she's very just, you know, in your face and snappy, and you know, and for someone that's not, I don't know how much experience in acting she had at this point, John, but I think she carried her character very well. I think she blended well with the other actresses as well, or actors.
Yeah.
You know, and there's just something about it. Obviously, Stuntman Mike, he's got to get his comeuppance at some point, and what a way they do it.
Absolutely. Also, he rams him off the road. He thinks he's killed the Zoe Bell character. She's away, I think, floundering down somewhere.
In a bush.
Yeah, and he fires on the handbrake and gets out the car, and I think he shouts, I've wrote the quote down, I don't think I know. Something about, where the hell is it? Hey ladies, that was fun. Well, adios, and he waves. Then, right at that moment, he gets shot right in the bicep, and he screams like a little bitch. I think he says "oh F" or something like that. Oh, I'll not swear. We don't swear on this channel. Kid friendly, but it's not. Kids shouldn't be watching it.
No.
We don't want a fine. We're not earning money.
And they shouldn't be watching Death Proof.
They should not be watching Death Proof. Stephen, you made a remark about the end, the way that he gets his comeuppance. They're just beating the shit out of him. It's kind of theatrical. It doesn't feel real.
No.
And that lends itself to also the windscreen in his car as well. It almost looks like tomato sauce, the blood, or tomato ketchup, wherever you're from.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like real blood. It's so, I mean, it's gory, but it's not realistic gore. It's not like Saving Private Ryan. It's done in a certain way stylistically.
Yeah, Tarantino's did this exactly, John. He's did this in the style of, you know, let's just enjoy his death. You know, it's going to be very, very theatrical. It's not going to be gritty, you know, and realistic. You know, let's just make fun of this guy as we kill him. Yeah, that's what I got from it, you know. And there was a lot of satisfaction in his death.
Absolutely. Stephen, he was a shithead, I says it, and he thoroughly deserved the death that he got, dying like a bitch at the hands of women, because he'd been terrorising many groups of women over the years, and he basically screwed with the wrong group this time, and they absolutely destroyed him. Now, Stephen, I've says performances here. Do you have a standout? I mean, Kurt Russell's not really in this movie a huge amount. I mean, he fits in it. He's in the first hour quite a bit. I'm talking absolute shite. So, I mean, he'd probably be up there as a standout, just because he's great at playing this sort of role. He's such a good actor, he can play anything. I mean, was it Breakdown? He's playing the sort of do-gooder husband, trying to find his family, and then you had that guy, something Walsh.
JT Walsh.
JT Walsh. I didn't even know he'd passed away, and apparently he's been dead for years.
That was his last film.
Crazy, man. So, he can play that role, but then he can play a shithead antagonist like this, and I think that speaks volumes for that guy's acting ability. I've spoke about Kurt numerous times, one of my favourite actors. Then you've got the likes of Rosario Dawson, again, just proving herself to be a fantastic actor over the years. Zoe Bell, you did a gleaming tribute for. She's just remarkable as well. Then you've got the likes of, I mean, there's Rose McGowan's in there. There's a whole array. Quentin does his usual cameo. Some amazing performances, but it's really ensemble in a way.
I mean, there's not one standout, John. If obviously Kurt Russell's the obvious choice, you know, he's the sort of main character in the film, you know, for the time he's in it, you know. But yeah, I mean, he carries the film, you know, and you know, I've been a big fan of Kurt Russell for decades anyway, you know, and you're right, I've seen him in playing some cheesy good guys and like Tango and Cash kind of films.
From LA,
and New York, and you know, New York, the Thing, you know, he just
the Thing. Jesus, how did I forget about that?
You know, and there's just he's just every Tombstone, you know, every film, Christ. You know, every decade this man has been involved in film, he's always had standout performances. You know, a lot of people don't think this is Tarantino's best work, you know, and, you know, horses for courses, I get that. You know, I like it, you know, but, you know, in the grand scheme of, you know, Tarantino's work, it might not be his best, but it's certainly not his worst. But, you know, there's just something about the performances in this, you know, I don't think there was anyone. Rose McGowan was quite quirky, I felt, you know, and felt sorry for the character in the end, obviously. You know, Rosario Dawson wasn't in it enough. I don't know how established she was as an actor at this point, John. This was the first thing I saw her in, as I recall, that I can't think anything before it. But she wasn't in it enough, you know. Zoe Bell, again, you know, it's more a character that reminds me, you know, that I think of. It's not actually a performance or anything like that. I just liked the character.
Tracy Doms, she was pretty damn good as well. I think
she was the driver, wasn't she?
Yeah, Zoe Bell says to her, "Do you want to go and get this, the cycle?" She says, "Hell, mother effing yes."
She was quite funny, you know. So
there was a lot of standouts.
Yeah, it was a good cast. Eli Roth in there as a cameo.
Eli Roth,
you know. So yeah, it was a good cast.
Yeah, Stephen, look, final thoughts on this movie. I mean, you've kind of touched upon it. It's not his absolute best work that he's done, but I don't think the guy's made a bad movie. And they're all distinctly different movies in the main, apart from perhaps Kill Bill and Kill Bill 2, which is following the same story of the bride, obviously, or Beatrice, whatever the hell she's
Beatrix
called.
Kiddo,
So the guy, this is what I love about him, he does different stories and they're all kind of interconnected in his own universe. That's why I didn't really want to see him going off and doing a franchise movie.
Star Trek,
I mean, it would have been interesting to see Spock yelling profanities and blood and gore in Star Trek with Tarantino's dialogue. It would have been...
And obviously Samuel Jackson in there.
Yeah, Samuel Jackson in there, man. Maybe playing a Klingon or something. Lord knows, that would have been amazing.
Say what again, It would have been epic, John.
So it would have been
as a novelty factor.
Yeah, but when he does this, his own little quirky ideas with surrealist imagery and just amazing aged retro style visuals and whatnot. This is when he's at his absolute best for me.
Yeah.
When he's going off and doing tangents, it's like Nick Cage but better. Nick Cage in the Netflix era, but it's Tarantino and a lot better. So I love this movie. I love Planet Terror as well. Don't know if you've got anything else to add before we wrap it up.
Just that, John, I think it's a great experience watching both films back to back. We might do a Planet Terror review at one point. I've not seen that film again in probably about a decade.
Call the copper with the ring.
Yeah, it's a great cast as well. You got Bruce Willis in there, you know, and Josh Brolin. But yeah, I mean, it's just
as I call them.
Your man from Terminator as well played Kyle Reese. I can't remember his name.
I'll never forget.
Can't remember, but you know, it's just a great cast, John. Just great performances in there. Soundtrack's unbelievable. The look of the film as well. Just that it's just a style. It's Tarantino's style. No one else does it like him without it becoming a bit naff looking. He knows how to do it. He doesn't overdo it with the look of the film, and obviously the cinematography as well. It's fantastic. I didn't know it was him that did it.
No.
But it makes sense now because we did see more feet than we usually do. So yeah, just a great film.
Yeah, Steve, I'm trying to rush about furiously to find a composer, but I'm not seeing one, so perhaps I wasn't a composer at all. Perhaps it was just all soundtrack. Lord knows, but
Michael Biehn is the name from Terminator.
Kyle Reese, yeah. Yes, well done, Steve. When I think of Kyle Reese, I think of your man Anton Yelchin from Salvation. Absolute blasphemy. But look, that's going to round up our review of Death Proof. What the hell do you guys make about this wacky Tarantino movie? Do you think it's a pile of shit? You think it's too misogynistic and violence against women is absolutely despicable and it doesn't have a place in film? Do you think it's absolutely magnificent like us and you don't give a shit about anything, all of that crap, because it's film, it's all subjective, and Tarantino's the man? If you've got anything to say at all, you can comment below and let us know what your thoughts are down below in the comments section. You can also like the video if you've enjoyed it, and you can subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content like this, and if you do, then you will see me again tomorrow for MB Movie News.